Welcome to Lunch Money Bet. This is Ryan.
And this is D'Lo.
And welcome back to Sports Betting Tutorials with Lunch Money. Now, on the first episode, we're imagining that you're a first-time sports bettor, and we created a budget for yourself. Before you go into the casino or before you even think about sports betting, you need to know how much money you're willing to risk and how much money you're willing to bet on a daily or weekly basis or however long or often you're willing to bet. So now that we've created a budget, today we're going to talk about who are we going to bet on. Now that we know how much we're willing to spin, we need to find out what teams we like, what sports we may be interested in betting in, and go from there and go into money lines and figuring out how to place that bet.
Yeah, definitely. So last week we did the budgeting, and this week we're going to go on what to bet on and how to bet it and how to pick the odds and all that. So we're going to start us off. We need to ask ourselves, what sports do you enjoy or want to bet on? What sports do you have knowledge on? Do you have a favorite team, or do you want to bet on a hot team right now? These are all questions you should ask yourself before placing a straight bet.
Now, if you guys want to, it totally depends. If you're a fan of sports, then I personally would definitely bet on whatever you're a fan of or whatever you have knowledge of. However, if you're wanting to bet in order to make profit and you don't know much about sports, then you need to find the right resources of information of who to bet on. Now, before you do all that, before going into the casino, I think it's really important to write down or find out what teams that day you like to bet on. So you write those down before going into the casino, because once you get in there and look at the sports book, there's so many different sports and things to bet on that it can be so overwhelming. So going in there with a mindset of who you're going to bet on already definitely helps when placing a wager.
Yeah, the sports book can definitely be overwhelming, as we talked about last week. And if you don't know what team you want to bet on or what amount of money you want to spend, it can be really overwhelming. So that's why it's important to do these two things before you go into the sports book. So after you do all that, I'm going to explain what a straight money line bet is right now. It's a
And
bet.
this is the most basic, essential bet that you can make. It's
Yeah,
called a straight money line bet.
Yeah, this is as easy as it gets. You literally pick one single team or fight or competition. You pick that team you like, look at the money line, and place the dollar amount you want to bet on for the team. So, getting into it, we're going to go over the odds, which is plus or minus whatever number next to it, and we're going to go through that so you can understand that before you place your bet. Because if you pick your team and they're a minus 1,000 and you put $5 on it, you're not gonna get much out of that. You
So
might.
let's start with this with the plus minuses first of all. So let's say if the Chicago Bulls are playing against the Pelicans, for example, if it says a minus 140, then that means that the Bulls are a slight favorite. Anything that is a minus or a negative with a number after it means that that is the favorite team of the night. It's
Yeah,
going to pay you a little bit less, but usually favorites come in more often than the underdogs. There's a reason why there's plus and minuses, and that all accounts for later on in some of our episodes.
Yeah, the plus or the minus tells you the risk you're taking when you place the bet. So if you're choosing a favorite or a minus, you know that team's supposed to win, at least according to the casino. If it's a plus, you know it's an underdog and the casino doesn't think that team's going to win. So
So
my
let's say if you are to go into the casino and you have $100, go ahead, Dilo, and explain a couple different instances of you going in the casino with $100. Give them one example with $100 bet on a favorite, and give them an example of a $100 bet on an underdog and how that payout would be according to that plus or that minus.
Yeah, I have a couple examples for each one that'll flow pretty well. So minuses are the favorites. The bigger the minus, the heavier the favorite. For example, a minus 120 is a slight favorite, and you'll get a decent payout if you bet on this team. A minus 800 is a huge favorite, and honestly, it's not worth it to place a straight bet on in my eyes. So we're going to use $100 to explain the payout. If you bet $100 on a minus 120 team, you're going to get a payout of $183. You're risking $100 to win $83. That's not that bad for a favorite. That's a pretty good payout. Using the same $100, if you bet it on a minus 800 team, you're going to get a payout of $112.50. So you risked $100 to win $12.50. So
So
the
essentially, what D'Lo's saying with that is you typically do not want to do a straight bet over a minus 250 due to the payout. Now, if you're betting thousands of dollars, then it may be worth it because you'll accept that little bit of profit and take it because it's a huge favorite. But if you're a daily average sports bettor, unless you're parlaying it, which we'll explain parlays later, then I would stay away from anything that's higher than a minus 250 favorite. If the favorite is higher than that, then it's almost not worth it to place it. But if you can get anything from a minus 110 to a minus 250, anything in between that on a favorite, then it's a pretty good money line bet to place.
Yeah, and it's good to explain again. The heavier or higher the favorite, the safer, in quotations, the bet. Boxing, for example, has a lot of heavy favorites, such as a minus 800, or they even get into the fractions, so like 1 out of 16. And these boxers are super likely to win, but the payout's not even worth it to bet on them. So that's how the casino looks at it. They look at it as the higher the number, the heavier the favorite, or the bigger the underdog, which is
Now
gonna
let's get into the underdogs. With
yeah.
the underdogs, it's really interesting because this is where greed plays in at an all-time high. Underdog payouts are anything in the plus. So if it's a plus sign with any number after it, that means that that team is expected to lose that day, whether it's slightly or highly. So same thing with the minuses. If it's a plus 100, then it's going to be it's going to be a pretty good payout. But if it's a plus 800, it's going to be an insane payout. The polar opposite of whether you're playing the favorites. So
Yeah,
you want to tell them, if I walk into the casino with $100, give them a couple different money lines, underdog picks.
yeah, so these are the underdog picks, which means they're not favorited to win. But if you pick an underdog, the payout's great. Even if it's a low underdog, if it's a slight underdog, you'll usually about double your money. So the higher the plus, the higher the payout, but the less likely they're going to win. So with the same $100 we've been betting, placing it on a plus 125 will pay out $225. That's already a pretty good payout. But if you place a $100 bet on a plus 900, the payout will be $1,000. I want to tell you now, this is not likely to happen, but it does happen once in a blue moon. Betting on underdogs is definitely a style. If you're good at predicting upsets, this might be something you want to specialize in. For example, we love college basketball and we're pretty good at picking underdogs in college basketball, so we'll bet underdogs more often in college basketball than per se UFC.
Something that's fun to do because of betting underdogs is you can win your bets less often because the payouts are higher. So, for example, if I did 5 bets on all underdogs and just one of them won, it may account and cover for the other 4 that I missed. However, if I was to do 5 bets on all favorites, if I only hit 1 or 2 of those bets, I still may lose a little bit of money because the margin of profit is much less than if you were betting on the underdog. So with the underdogs, you can hit less wagers placed, but you're also taking a higher risk at the team that's less likely to win each time.
Yeah, so those are the odds, and that's how you place a money line straight bet, and that's what you look at when you're picking a money line straight bet. So again, it's probably good to pick something you know, especially if you're just starting out. If you've never placed a sports bet in your life, but you watch a lot of NFL, then you should probably start with NFL. Just do a straight bet on a couple teams you know really well, look at the odds and see if you like them, especially
So
if you
if you're
like.
going to bet for the first time, or if you're just getting into this newly, then I would go into the casino and just take one team and practice for a little while until you feel more comfortable and take what we call a straight bet, the most essential bet you can take. It's called a straight money line bet. So
Yeah.
if the Falcons are playing the 49ers, if you like the 49ers, you'll say I like the 49ers money line and then play the straight bet and put your money on. That's the most essential way to bet. So in this second episode, we've taught you guys how to pick a team and bet on them whether they're going to win or lose the game straight up. In episode 1, we taught you guys how to create a budget. So going into this next episode now, we're going to get a little bit more detailed and talk about spreads. Now, this is a very common betting scheme as well within sports betting. but it's a little more complex. So today's episode was about straight money line bets, and next episode is going to be about spreads.
Yeah, and while we used $100 examples, I just want to tell you we used the $100 examples because it's easy to calculate what the payout will be. You guys can start your straight bets with just a $5 straight bet, a $10 straight bet, even a $2 straight bet. So if you want to learn how to place straight bets and look at odds and pick underdogs, it's a good idea to start with those lower amounts and just get a feel for it. Just get an idea of what you're getting into.
Absolutely. It's just like the stock market or something. You wouldn't want to just hand your money to somebody that you didn't trust, and if you had no knowledge about what you were putting your money into. So, same with sports. Bet what you know, and if you don't know, start with the most essential, boring, basic concepts. And once you get better at it, then you can have fun with it and really take some more risk. But I truly feel that if you just come into the sports betting world not understanding any of these terms or complex situations that you can get into with sports betting, there's lots of ways how to finesse and make easy money, and that's our goal, is to teach you guys how to make easy money and how to make this system work for you, because nothing's guaranteed, but there's definitely calculated risk every day, and that's what we do. Just like the stock market, we play calculated risk.
Yeah, so hopefully you're ready to go place those money line bets. And if you guys have any questions for us and you're brand new at this, you can go to Lunch Money Bet on Instagram and DM us. We'll always talk to you guys and we do this for free. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if we weren't clear about something, you can feel free to ask us as well.
And we give out daily predictions, advice. We do one-on-one FaceTime sessions, teaching you guys the ins and outs of sports betting. We truly do it all. We're here to teach you guys and inform you and make you more confident sports bettors. That's what Lunch Money does. Have a wonderful day. Episode 3 next. Lunch Money out.